All right. Welcome back, chaps and chapettes, to the newest episode of the Chaps Chat with me, Connell B. Doyle, and today I'm going to be telling you about my coming out story. I'm going to tell you about whenever I came out to my liberal parents as a racist. All right, I'm going to break it down. We're going to get into it today, but we're also going to answer some of your questions. And as you all know, if you're a regular listener, we talk about life for a while, alright? So we're going to talk about what's been going on, why the episode is late, what's happened, and why the backdrop is the OG backdrop back in Ireland, alright? So we're back, boys and girls, buckle in. You know, in the last episode I noticed quite a lot of comments saying I wasn't going to drink a beer, but then this changes everything. So go get yourself a beer, make sure you've got the dinner on, you got something to eat, you've got something to distract you while you're listening to me. Alright? Put your feet up. Sad time of the week. Enjoy. Enjoy the rant. Enjoy the storytelling. And enjoy the chaps chatting. As you know, make sure if you go share it on your story, I will repost it. So guys, go share it in your story. I'll repost it. Show me wherever you're listening, watching, whatever's going on. Just show me about it. And I'll repost it on my stories. So yes, chaps and chapettes, this is my coming out story. This is the coming out episode as a racist to liberal parents. And excuse me, by the way, for anybody who's watching on Spotify or YouTube, I left my razor in the Netherlands. So it's been like a couple of days without shaving. Well, actually like a week without shaving. But yes, so I'm back in Ireland right now. We're going to get into the small life chat for a minute. What's going on? And I'm back in Ireland because my youngest sister got married. Congratulations to her. Good wedding. Good fun. I did enjoy it. Was very interesting wedding, that's for sure. I didn't really know many people there at all. It was actually a bit crazy. I think people didn't even know that me and my sister were related, which is insane. People were like shocked when they first saw me there. I would have assumed most people would have known that we were related, but when I went into the church, there was a group of girls stood there, and they were like, "Is that the guy off TikTok?" And I just heard one of them say it, and then another girl was like, "No, it's not." And then my other sister was like, "Connell," and then they went, "Oh my god, that is the guy off TikTok," which was weird. So I guess for them, people there were like, "Wait, Connell Doyle, his sister's surname, well, it was Doyle, now she's married, so it's changed." So we're like, "Wow, wait, we're just connecting the dots." They're brother and sister. So that was weird. And then as always, you know, like, because you're on the internet, there's people who know your videos or know of your presence and then they see you in person. And it's the same sort of relationship that happens with anything. When you're on the internet and you meet people in real life, or they meet you in real life, and they have a preconception of you. It's really weird because then people feel, I don't know, guys, do you guys like hearing these stories? Because it's like a really weird insight into like technically influencer life. But one thing I've noticed, and one thing I actually hate about social gatherings, is that you give people access to you that usually wouldn't get given access to you. So obviously at a wedding, I can't control who's there and who's not. So obviously they're my sister's mates or family, etc. So some people will then obviously have access to me, and it's not saying that in like a cocky way. It's people I would never normally like know, you understand? I would never be like, "Oh, me and that person, we're gonna be friends," you know? Or like a girl, specifically, the specific situation I'm talking about was a girl who's good friends with my sister. I'd never heard of her, but like obviously Belfast is a small place, our circles are small, so turns out I'd met her sister before. And according to this girl, her partner, the sister, is a complete... I think her name's like Natalie or something, or Natasha, or Neve, or something with an N. And the partner was like, "Yeah, we call her Nasty Neve," or whatever. So apparently the sister's rude. And it turns out I had interacted with the sister like years ago, and I apparently called her a bitch. Or a fat bitch, something like that. Anyway, gets brought up at the wedding of course, people get a few drinks, and then all of a sudden, oh, you called my sister this years ago, and I was just saying to everybody, you're way nicer than what I've heard about you. And I was like, it's actually really funny, right? So she came over to my table to say that, and I was like, why have you just come over to tell me that I'm way nicer than what you'd heard about? Like, why approach someone to say that, Like, if I approached her and was like, you're way nicer, or than anybody said about you, it would just cause drama. So obviously, my other sister, her partner, just went like this. He was like, she could not have said that to a worse person, obviously, i.e. me, because he knows I'm just going to be like, is that right? Why don't you shut the fuck up with your opinions, Which I did say. I was like, here, listen. I didn't say shut the fuck up. I was like, listen, lady, I don't really care. And I think you should keep your preconceptions over there. Don't come over here to tell me that I'm way nicer than what you've heard about me, and you're telling people that. Like, why don't you just not do that? Why don't you just keep those wee thoughts to yourself? Anyway, that sort of caused a bit of drama. Bit of awkwardness at the wedding, but other than that, there was a couple of other things that were a bit mad. Like, it was just funny. It's just a weird to see everybody all like again, and it's like personalities and stuff. It's good crack. It was good fun. That's for sure. It was good fun. But yeah. Anyways, that's enough of the wedding. So that's why I'm back in Ireland. Then went out, caught up with some friends there the other night, and it's weird because I've been living in the Netherlands so long. So like, certain things, like certain stories or ways that stories get told or how situations get handled, it's just so different, and I forget how funny it is to just be Irish and like have Irish mates. Like me and my mate Closey, right? Now this is just, when he told me it, I couldn't stop laughing, and it wasn't even that funny. But like, it's just like, because I'm not around that sort of humor as much anymore. When you hear it again, it hits harder. But we were talking about Lily Phillips and her boyfriend. And Lily Phillips had done like an interview, right? So she does this interview with her boy, and the interviewer's like, oh, like, how do you feel about essentially being a cuck? And essentially he's like, I get her lips at the end of the night. That's what he said. But then Lily Phillips said, no, you get these lips, and points at her actual like mouth lips, and then points at her bottom lips in the private area. It says, but you don't get them lips. And obviously that is the craziest thing to say ever to your boyfriend. So you don't get these lips, but you do get them ones. And my mate Closey just went, you see, if I heard a girl say that to me on camera in front of the world, I'd go, right, lock that door. Lock the fucking door, quick. Then I'd get up, I'd stab everybody in the room. He said nobody's leaving this room alive after that. If she's going to say that, everybody has to die. And I genuinely could not stop laughing, because it's just so far from the like type of humour now that I'm hearing. In the Netherlands, it's just so far. Dutch humour also, though, has got its ways about it. Like, me and David's humour specifically is just unbelievable, but it's just so much less aggressive than like Irish humour, you know what I mean? I'm going to stab everybody in here. Goodness, so it's nice being back. It's nice then going into Chippy, because you don't have Chippies in the Netherlands. Forgot how good they are. Getting a Chinese and all, boys, has been magic. It's nice being back, but I'm fed up, and I miss David. I miss my boy David, and I'm looking forward to going back and just chilling with him, playing Minecraft. I've just bought FIFA as well. Me and him are going to have to play some FIFA together. He better be good at FIFA, because if he's not, and me and him are playing online and he's crap, I'm going to do the same thing that my friend Closey just said. I'm going to say, lock that door. Nobody's leaving this room alive here. You're gone. You're done. But yeah, so it's been good to be back. But yeah, man. Aside from all that, about the jibber jabber, we are in World Cup territory right now. And Am I going to be the only one to say this, right? Am I literally going to be the only person to say this? I can't enjoy the World Cup. I actually can't stomach it anymore. If the World Cup is and should be the biggest wake-up call ever, if the World Cup isn't a wake-up call to the world, I don't know what more we can do. We're watching different countries all play each other, and almost none of the countries have natives playing on their team. There's maybe five squads that have like full native culture. It's got to a stage where even Morocco only had in one game, Morocco had no players on the field that were born in Morocco. They were all born outside the country. I think Morocco, in their full panel, they only have like 6 players that are born natively to Morocco. Look at France. France is just a black team now. It's just a mixture of Muslims and Africans. As I say, Morocco only has 6 players that were born in Morocco. The rest were born outside the country. Ireland and England, don't even get me started on England. Just look at it. It's little Africa at this stage. It's little Pakistan. All these different countries have come together to play each other, and not one of them appears to be an authentic, natural-born, natural selection pool of players from the native country. None of them are actually native to their country. No squad is just fully native, and it's so upsetting. And for me, it's personally hard to celebrate any squad because, whenever I watch France, I want to see the French play. I want to see how people who've been born in France, who are French heritage, who've been playing, in their youth academies their entire lives, who've been playing the French style of football. I want to watch them play. I want to watch the Brazilian have the Brazilian flair. I want to watch Morocco play properly like Morocco do. I don't want to watch, Morocco play whenever out of the starting 11, in literally at one stage, 11 players on the pitch weren't even from Morocco, weren't born in Morocco. So how can I watch that club or watch these players play a sport on behalf of their country whenever they didn't grow up in the academies of their country? They didn't grow up playing the style and the pattern of football of their country. It's just an amalgamation. It's just a cesspool. It's just a melting pot of different people who have essentially labelled themselves as something, and they're going and playing on behalf of that label. It's not actually real. It's not like you're watching, like an authentic young French team who got raised throughout their entire life, playing in different academies, playing under different French styles, or just raised in the streets of France, playing for France, or raised in the streets of the Netherlands, playing for the Netherlands, or raised in the streets of Brazil, playing for Brazil. It's now like, oh, technically my grandmother's from there, so I'm going to go over there and play for Morocco. But in reality, I spent my entire life in the Netherlands. Some of them haven't even stepped foot in Morocco, and they're playing on behalf of Morocco. It's super upsetting. It's super upsetting. And I just can't get behind it. I think it's so sad to see. It's so sad to see. There's no personality now really behind any of them teams anymore, because you're just watching guys who are just trying to find a way to play for any national team they'll find, and they'll dig into any sort of heritage and go play for them. And it's really upsetting. Specifically, one of the most upsetting things I have seen in the World Cup was actually Morocco beating the Netherlands, because the Netherlands have actually got quite a large population of Moroccans. Like the Netherlands has hundreds of thousands of Moroccans in the country, and the Moroccans then went out on the streets and celebrated in the face of the Dutch because they beat them. Like, you either love the country you live in, or you live in the country you love. When you watch Morocco going out rioting in the streets to sort of gallivant and boast that they beat the Netherlands in the Netherlands country, that's just a disgrace in my opinion. I thought it was such bad sportsmanship, and in the Netherlands, they actually just hate, a lot of them hate Moroccans. They take up 2% of their population. They commit 46% of the crime in the country, and they're out celebrating in their faces after being housed by the Netherlands. They're working in the Netherlands. They're getting fed. They're getting watered in the Netherlands. They're playing in the Netherlands young football academies. And then they're beating the Netherlands in the World Cup. And then they're going out and burning stuff down, rioting, celebrating on the streets in the faces of the people who look after them. Like, what sort of world are we living in? What sort of dystopian world is this? How does this make sense? You're celebrating and trashing the city that you've all been raised in because they've taken you in, and you're celebrating in their face. You're essentially spitting in their face. There was no sportsmanship behind it. There was no etiquette. There was no class. And even saying this sort of stuff, like, you're not even allowed to say this sort of stuff anymore. You're not even allowed to have an opinion and be like, I actually don't like how this World Cup is set up now. I don't like that nobody's authentically and natively playing for their nobody's playing for their native country. It's essentially just people taking advantage of, well, essentially Europe. It's like people taking advantage of Europe's like football schemes, academies, lifestyle, culture, jobs, playing for the sports academies, taking advantage of that, and then going off to another country after and then celebrating in their faces. It's upsetting. It's upsetting, and you're not allowed to say anything about it. You're not allowed to say, oh, here, by the way, I actually don't like that France isn't actually even French at all. I don't like the fact that Morocco only, at some stages, no players on the pitch have ever been to Morocco before. They're not native. They weren't born in Morocco. There's nobody on that pitch that was born in Morocco. How can they go and play for Morocco? You can't say it anymore. And with the whole situation in the World Cup, it's just insanity now. It's just so sad to see what's happening to Europe. And I get so worked up about it. And I know, like, a lot of people listen to Chaps Chat and they don't want to hear about these sorts of things. But nobody in their right mind can look at this World Cup and be like, well, that's fantastic. This is fantastic. Look at all these black guys, these Muslims, these Arabs playing for France. There's no French players. What? Look at all these guys playing for Morocco. At one stage, nobody on the pitch was born in Morocco. How can anybody look at that and be like, yeah, I take pride in Morocco. I take pride in being French. These are all players that are not born in the country, you know what I mean? It's really sad, and it's just a small world or small, like, what's the word? It's like a micro society of what's going on outside as well, and it's just not enjoyable at all. And then when you look at England's no different. England is literally no different. But yeah, it's really mad. I actually got into an argument with a guy 2 nights ago, and essentially I got into an argument in a bar about immigration. All right. Well. Right. Let me take a sip here. That wasn't a sip. That was like a half pint. I'm going to do another half. So, get into an argument in a bar every night about immigration, okay? So, obviously, I'm in Ireland now. And a big problem with Ireland is this guilt. There's so much ancestral guilt in Ireland, alright? How nice is that word, by the way? Like, ancestral guilt. I'm actually muddling that up. But there's so much guilt because of what's happened to the Irish throughout history, right? So I'm in the bar. Obviously, I'm in Ireland, and this guy is talking about immigration, right? So he's bashing the people in the small hats. He's talking about how he hates them. And then I say, like, nobody should be allowed to hate, like, one small community and not the rest. You see, like, I'm happy, right? I'm actually not racist. People always ask me, am I racist? Am I really racist? No, I am not a racist. I hate everybody equally. I hate all other races equally. I don't like any of them that aren't white, Catholic, Irish. Alright? I don't like any of them. I can deal with them. I can be polite to them. I can be friends with them. But I love being white, Catholic, Irish. Alright? So technically I'm not racist because I hate all races equally. You know? I can go through all of them. I don't like, the Jews any more than I like the Pakistanis. I don't like the Chinese any more than I like in the English. Like, it's just, I'm racist against all of them. So technically, no, I'm not racist. You can't be racist if you hate all races equally. You know? Is it technically racism then? Because you're treating them all equally. You don't like any of them. They're all getting equal treatment of disdain. I don't like any of you. So, am I really racist for that? No. Actually, you guys are more racist because actually, the left wing, they're picking sides of Palestine and Israel. They're sitting there going, oh, I support Palestine. I hate Israel. Okay, well, you're more racist than me because I hate them both. So I treat them equally. You don't, racist. And, but the one thing I don't like is how easy it is to get labelled as being racist as well. Everybody just labels you racist. People don't think, People don't think and go, is Connell actually racist or is he just treating them all equally? Does he just dislike them all? And that's the answer, That's the answer. But I am just genuinely, I think I'm getting a bit sick though. A bit sick of the whole World Cup situation. I'm getting really fed up with it. I just can't enjoy it. I just can't enjoy the World Cup anymore. And even when you're trying to Google it and find out what race this person's from or where they were born or what country's got the most, non-natives playing for them, you can't even get information about it. Gonna have to go. I'm like, as I say, boys, like, at the minute, it does seem like a lot more information is getting shut down and shunned, and they're coming along harder, and they're starting to ban under 16s being on the internet. They're starting to push a bigger agenda. TikTok's getting stricter. The BBC News and all the news outlets aren't stating what racist people are starting to creep in. We're starting to lose the freedom of speech now, boys. And it's actually very important that all of us now start making sure that we go to different places and we make sure that we're getting... There's never been a more important time in history to know what's going on in the world. There's never been a more important time to actually read a newspaper article and think critically about it and know, actually, I'll go here or I'll go here. There's never been a more important time in history to know some of these influencers out there, they're feds, or these teachers and the curriculum that we're learning isn't necessarily truthful. There's maybe some biased agendas in there. There's never been a more important time to be on that right now. Never been a more important time at all. And with me right now, it just feels so difficult to actually get good information about what's going on. The world feels very dystopian right now. It's just, has the world, are we really, I feel like the world's about to just explode. Just nothing is making sense anymore. And it's really bizarre because we're in an era where everything's at our fingertips, but everything at our fingertips is controlled and dictated and narrated to fit a certain vision or a certain ideology. And now people are starting to find ways around it. There's apps and there's platforms that I'm using, like Mirage. They're allowed to say what they want on there. They're allowed to say that anybody's allowed to do anything on that. You can post anything. You can say anything. But we're having to go there because all the mainstream platforms are controlled. They're now telling you, eat this, think this, do this. It's insane. Even... it's mad, because I could go down a massive wormhole of this right now. But even this whole situation with the ticks in America, I don't know if anybody's seeing any of that. These ticks in America are starting to be They're like said to be essentially, if you get bit by one, you're never able to eat meat again. You're essentially made permanently allergic to meat off in this tech, and they're starting to say it's a man-made tech. It's been placed here on purpose to get us away from meat, to get us away from food. Like I was on Mirage the other night, right? Mirage. I'll post my Mirage account here soon, right? I'll drop the @ of the account. But like, I was on this app and I saw an old prison like diet, and the prisoners in jail were literally eating like 3,500 calories, and they were all shredded, and their starving diet was 2,400, and they're all shredded. That's their starving punishment diet, is 2,400, and now we're told we shouldn't really be eating 2,400, and it's because the food that we're eating is just so unhealthy and so bad. Like, the meat's not good, the vegetables are like awful. Even in the World Cup, in the World Cup, boys, like Norway started shipping their own oranges and stuff over because they're like, yeah, we're not eating that nonsense. We're not eating whatever they're shoveling into the pesticides and all that. It's getting crazy. All that sort of stuff's getting so mental, so out of hand. But yeah, as always, boys, everything's starting to turn into conspiracy theory at the minute. Everything's starting to turn into conspiracy theory. Do you know what, though? Almost every single conspiracy theory I've been reading, every big conspiracy theory has been proven true. I'm just waiting for flat Earth. I genuinely mean that. I'm waiting for flat Earth. I've been using Mirage. I've been seeing loads of information about flat Earth. And it's the only platform I know that has been like showcasing it truly and like giving me solid, like actual information, because you can't read it anywhere else. But here, every single conspiracy theory has been proven true, though. Like, that is one thing that I've noticed recently. Am I the only one thinking this, boys? I cannot be the only one thinking. I am going to be the one to say this. I'm going to be the one to say it. Every single conspiracy theory I have heard from a child has pretty much all come out as true now. All of them. 9/11. Bang. What happened? The moon landing. Bang. What happened? COVID. Bang. What happened? All these different conspiracy theories over the years have just been proven true. Epstein's Island. Bang. What happened? All these different things. People who run the media. What happened? All of them have just been getting proven true as time goes along. I am just waiting for flat Earth. I'm sitting on Mirage. I'm just scrolling the feed. And I'm just going, yeah, this is the next one, boys. They're going to tell us the Earth is flat. I'm telling you, I actually probably sound like a maniac saying that. But I've been on Mirage. I've just been scrolling it. I've been getting all this information. We're the first ever type of like society or civilization that has said the Earth's not flat. We're the only ones in history who have said the Earth's not flat. In the Bible, it talks about the firmament and the first page. And then people are going to say, oh, Connell, how do you believe the Earth's flat, right? Do you know why I believe the Earth could be flat? Right? I wouldn't put my house on it. But Mirage is starting to put me some information, it's starting to pump me some information on the feed, and I'm starting to go, okay, I'm seeing this. But I think this is my theory on why the flat Earth could be real, right? If you wanted to discredit Christianity, you want to discredit it from the first page. And what's in the first page of the Bible? Flat Earth. The firmament. Alright? Let's mention straight away. Bang. Straight away. So if you want to, make Christianity seem stupid, idiotic, fabricated, you want to defy and sort of tarnish Jesus Christ's name, you want to tarnish what's going on in the Bible, the first thing you need to do is read page 1, and anybody in the modern day and age will read it and go, okay, well, the Bible can't be entirely correct because it talks about flat Earth on page 1. And I think, well, they've done that on purpose. They've done that on purpose, you know. Whoever's controlling the world has definitely went, okay, we want to discredit Christianity. Okay, page 1. Okay, let's say this. Firmament, they talk about the firmament. Let's say it's not flat, it's round. And from there on, when you read the Bible, so the minute you read the Bible, you go, okay, well, actually, you know, these guys might be, everybody who's saying Jesus isn't real and Christianity's wrong, they might be onto something, because in the Bible it says the earth's flat and it's got a firmament, and that's not real because we have NASA. NASA say it's not real. You know? So that's why now I've been sitting on Mirage. I've been reading a lot about the flat earth theory, and it's the only place I know that's giving me true information. I've been reading it, been scrolling, and I'm starting to believe the earth could be flat. There we go, boys. Everybody asks me this question. Why do you think the earth's flat? And I want to actually see more information about it. I'm going to ask with Calvin, what's his name? There's a priest on Instagram I really like. He's where is he? Calvin, guys, I want to find him. Shout out to this guy. I want a full video from this man talking about flat earth, right? He's cool. Yes, Father Calvin Robinson. I want him to do it. I want a video. He's a priest on Instagram. I need you to do a video talking about the flat earth. Do you believe it? What do you think it coincides with in the eyes of the Bible? Do you think they've done it on purpose so that we don't get any, you know, faith in Jesus? There you go, boys. So a lot of people ask me about the flat earth theory, and you've got your answer. You've got your pesky oil answer. But yes, boys and girls, right, let me also bang out a few questions here, okay? Bang out a few good old questionroonies, and we'll be cooking. We'll be bloody cooking. I put up an Instagram story there saying, boys and girls, send me all your questions, and I definitely got the most retarded questions ever. Retarded. Where are they? Right, I'm scrolling now. I'm scrolling. So yes, guys, anyway, while we're waiting for my Wi-Fi to bloody load and pull up these questions, how are we all? By the way, how are you guys doing? Drop a comment, let me know, send me a message. And are we enjoying the fact that all the podcasts are now going to be on separate channels, because it makes life a lot easier for all of us? Okay, it actually does make life a lot easier for me. Right, are you actually a racist, or is it just a joke? Answered that question earlier. What is my favourite word? You know. Why is it when black people face racism, everyone defends them, but when it happens to us whites, nobody defends us? Because we're not perpetual victims. That's why. You know? We're not perpetual victims. White people just take life on the chin, and we get on with things, and we progress, and we build, and we succeed, and we don't sit and go, this happened to us 10,000 years ago. You know? We don't do that. So I didn't even tell the story about the immigration argument, by the way. This guy was like arguing to me. I hate this quote. The Irish were immigrants too. We were immigrants. Guys, ancestral guilt is a real thing. Right? And it shouldn't be real. It was thousands of years ago, right? Why are we still, like the Irish have ancestral guilt more than anyone in the world. Literally, Ireland is losing itself now. We are just handing over our country because of it. We're like, oh, no, we need to let in all these immigrants because we were immigrants once too. And the people who are saying that don't know anything about our actual history there. I had this argument in a bar the other day. We were immigrants too. Okay. Who was slaved more? Irish or black people? And the guy says, obviously black people. Wrong. Irish were slaved more than black people. Right? And all these black people are going to comment going, actually, that's a lie. No, it's not. Go on to Mirage. Go onto an actual platform where people don't make up facts and don't control the narrative. And you will see the documented figures showing that Irish were slaved more. And do you know what else they've done to try and diminish our treatment, the Irish treatment in America? They've changed the name from slaves to indentured servants. And do you know why they changed the name? Because we were once slaves. We were out in the fields. We were picking cotton with them. We were sold more than them. We were sold more than black slaves. There was more Irish slaves than blacks. We were just cheaper because we got sunburnt. So they moved us from being in the fields into the houses and then said, actually, you're not slaves anymore. You're indentured servants. And now they run with this narrative. You weren't slaves. Actually, we were. And we were cheaper. They were almost like... the facts are on Mirage. You can go find them. They were actually like almost like 10 times the price of us. It was like, at the time, £5 of cotton for an Irish slave and £50 of cotton for a black slave. But we went over to America and we built that country, and every single American president, including black Barack Obama, has Irish heritage. Every single one of them. We went over to America and we built that country and we made that country and we're celebrated like nobody else. So no, even this whole BS of like, oh, we were immigrants too. Yeah, we were. We went over and we built the country and we made it what it is today. That's not happening here. That's not happening in Ireland. That's not happening in Europe. They're coming over. They're not trying to learn the language. They're not working. They're claiming benefits. They're getting housing. They're getting in for free. They're getting in undocumented. We didn't have that. We didn't have that. We went over there. We built the roads. We built the buildings. We became, the bloodline of every single president in American history, including the black guy. We went over there and we did that. Let's not get that twisted. And no matter what you're reading, make sure you go and find the real source to read about history before you actually come online or come up to me and go, well, we were immigrants too. Yeah, and look how we behaved and look how we're celebrated. Every single American you meet will say to you, oh, I've got Irish blood and I'm proud. And I'm proud of that because they know we're good people. We're good, hard-working people. We built that country. We made it what it is today. And that's the difference in us and them. Don't come to me with that ancestral guilt and be like, we were immigrants too. Yeah, look how we behaved. And look how they're behaving. It's not the same. Don't compare us. That's an insult. Don't come to me if you don't know your facts, Anyways, boys and girls, that was the story. He said that and then he left because I made him look like an absolute idiot. An absolute idiot. Imagine that, coming into a bar thinking you're smart. Saying, oh, I hate Israel, but we were immigrants, so it's fine. Shut up. He didn't even know that we were slaves in America. He didn't even know that. So he knew we were immigrants. Like, yeah, we got shipped there to work, mate, and pick cotton, but we got sunburnt in the fields. You just can't find that information anywhere because it's suppressed. So, complete and utter mong, as some would like to say, including some are me. Is it coming home? I'm assuming you're English. I don't know, mate. I would like to think that the African players you got are bringing it home for you. Yeah, I would think so. I'm Irish, so mate. I can't get behind the England winning it. It would be cool if England won it because it'd be nice to see like players that I support. Like I like Harry Kane. You know what I mean? Like, I like a lot of the players. Play for like clubs that like Liverpool and stuff like that I watch. So it'd be cool, and like I have some of them on FIFA as well in my squad. Why am I letting women ask me questions? I don't know. Is there a way I can ban women from talking to me? Is there a way I could do that? That would be class. See, imagine just muting a woman. You had a button to mute them. That would be nuts. All of our fingers. We just mute them once and we'd never unmute them. Why is my entire family left-wing communist and I'm a 15-year-old conservative first in generations? Because the new youth are smart and the old... You can't blame your family, your past, like your grand... I can't blame my parents for not being, right-wing, or my grandparents for not being right-wing, because they just didn't have the information that we have now. But... let me just lastly end the podcast on the story of me coming out to my parents. So it was the most difficult situation I've ever been in, So, whenever I hit adulthood, I came out to my parents. And it was difficult. It's the most difficult thing I've ever done. I sat them down. It was a rainy, cold Tuesday night. I said, Mum, Dad, I need to tell you something. And I think they knew a little. I think they had an idea. I think they were aware something I was different. I think they looked at my friends. I think, they looked at my friends and they noticed something interesting about the people I was friends with. They saw stuff that was on my phone a couple of times, and they were like, Connell, why are you looking at this? Why are you watching this? Why are you watching that? I said, oh, I don't know. It's just appeared on my feed. I didn't mean it. It just appeared on my feed. I didn't go out of my way to watch that. I don't know why that's coming up. And, I think they had an idea. But eventually one day it was too much for me to hold back. I was holding back a massive secret from them. And I didn't want to do that. I was sick of lying. So one day I sat them both down at the dinner table. I said, Mum, Dad, can we talk? Mum was sat facing me. Dad was sat next to her. And I'll never forget the tears that came out of their eyes, the hurt in their eyes when I had to break it to them. They're my liberal parents, like. They're largely very accepting. But I sat them down and I looked at them and I said, Mum, Dad, I'm a raging racist. Raging racist. I hate blacks, gays, Jews, anyone. I hate them all. Don't get me started on the Mexicans, And those pesky Jews and Asians. Don't get me started on them. I told my parents that, and they cried, and they kicked me out of the house as well, and said, you're no son of mine. And I had to leave. And I just remember leaving the house, myself in tears, It felt like a weight of relief, but I left the house. I just started calling black people the N-words and down the road, and I started throwing stuff at Indians, started calling them poop cheats, and I just felt free. I left the house weight off my shoulder. I just started randomly calling black people the N-words, and it felt freeing. Started calling Indians poop cheats. Started throwing pennies at Jews. I just felt like a free man, and from there, things have never been the same. I feel a weight off my shoulders. But yeah, listen, chaps and chapettes, gonna wrap this one up for today. I love yous. I appreciate yous. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and see you in the next episode. See you. Ciao.